Oh, hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Now, from the 19th century right up until the advent of the internet, the story of music distribution, music consumption, and music enjoyment has been one of increasing centralization. First, there was the modern symphony concert hall and the modern opera house that allowed hundreds and in some cases thousands of people to all share the same musical experience at the same time without the need to have enough money to have musicians, professional musicians, come into your house, hence the chamber music of aristocrats. And it also allowed you to hear a professional quality of music that was higher than the standard that you'd hear in your sort of village tavern or in your home if you were an amateur musician yourself. Around the same time that the concert going experience and classical opera got more centralized, so too did the publishing industry centralize itself. And the sale of popular music for people to play at home or in the taverns and all the rest of it, restaurants, that became a bigger industry. Then came self-playing instruments, where literally the same version of a piece of music played by a musician on these player piano or player organ rolls were sold all over the world, and people in, from Tallahassee to Timbuktu could hear the same recording. It wasn't a recording in the literal sense, but the same piece of music played by the same musician on these mechanical piano rolls. Then, of course, came actual recordings where you could hear the literal representation, the reproduction of a performance by a specific musician at a specific place in time. Radio only increased this tendency, as did television, as did the professionalism and growth in both size and scope of the music industry throughout the 20th century. Now, with the internet, which allowed us to be more connected than ever, one of the things that went into sort of remission was centralization. Instead, we got specialization. And that's true both in terms of what we look for proactively. We type in the titles, the prompts, and themes of things unique to our taste that may or not be shared with the people living around us in our neighborhoods and communities. And on top of that, now we've got algorithms that say, this is what you want because I know you, don't we, Hal? Play me Daisy. So I would say that because of the internet, it's the first time that music distribution technology has actually reduced rather than increased centralization. It certainly increased democratization of music, as did all these other great inventions I mentioned. But while they increased both democratization and centralization, the internet has increased democratization while increasing diversity and even atomization rather than centralization. Now, it's always come up who is sort of the most iconic figure of an era of centralized music distribution. And we could say Michael Jackson, maybe Elvis, but I would say in many ways, although those people are iconic in the history of centralized music distribution and consumption patterns, one of the most iconic figures in this is none other than Casey Kasem, because it was Casey Kasem who, for decades on radio and television, two relatively centralized media, who told us what everyone else was listening to. And of course, there's that sort of confirmation bias where, oh, if Casey tells me that these people are listening to it, I better listen to it too. There is definitely that. But there is also that shared experience that, someone in Omaha and someone in Ohio and someone in Tallahassee and Timbuktu, you've got to use the alliteration, people. They're listening to the same thing. And Casey Kasem sort of confirmed that. He demonstrated to us that, oh, we're not all that different. We might have different haircuts, drive different cars, eat different food, but we're all listening to these same 40 songs. We're all familiar with all, if not most of these 40 songs. And he was iconic in the way he delivered it. And as musical taste changed, he didn't change his persona. That same relaxed intonation with which he talked about and introduced the artists and the music on the top 40 countdown was always the same, which again, a symptom of centralization. Even when the even when time moved on, we could always rely on the same man with the same voice to deliver us the good news of which 40 songs were the most popular among music consumers. And so I would say that among others, people like Dick Clark, people like Art LeBeau, people like Wolfman Jack, Casey Kasem in particular, because of his top 40 show, he really was the ultimate symbol of the apex of music centralization, something that really no longer exists. That's what I think, at least. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.